Shalom, Yashrala Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. It's the brother Ash Ibad. And basically in today's video, I want to talk about, what the world calls UFOs, unidentified flying objects, what they call that. There's been a lot of reportings in the news. For any of y'all brothers who've been watching a lot of mainstream media, CNN, NBC, if you Google UFO sightings, you go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, there's been a lot of conversation about so-called UFOs that have been identified in the skies, And for those of y'all brothers who obviously have an understanding of the knowledge, for those of y'all who might be new but have been, dancing around and you kind of know certain things, many groups proclaim that the UFOs that people see in the skies are essentially just chariots of the Most High. And even a lot of people in like the Christian understanding, they know those things to be true. Now, there was a brother on my one of my videos I did in regards to the wheat and the tares, when I was talking about one body's false doctrine about the wheat and the tares, where I was explaining how they were the group who essentially said that the chariots of the Most High were not so-called UFOs. And the brother, he commented saying he didn't believe that. And I had another brother, shout out to you, Sanjan, you had commented saying, oh, that's easy. And he gave out a certain scripture in Ezekiel breaking it down. But because I seen a lot of brothers talking about this, I seen news pages talking about this, I figured, look, I'm gonna just make a quick video. And, a lot of people say, oh, the UFOs are fallen angels. The UFO are the fallen Nephilim. The UFOs are the reptilian people. Look, man, there's a lot of fables. There's a lot of false doctrines out there. When you look at the scriptures and you apply common spiritual knowledge, you'll 100% understand that those UFOs are of the Most High. Now, you do also have projectiles that Esau has, because Esau has a lot of different technology. Esau has drones. Esau has different type of craft. You understand that Esau alleges to, be able to go to the moon, and he has satellites and things like that. So Esau does have some sort of technology when it comes to the second heaven, which we understand to be the celestial realm. The third heaven is obviously where the Most High dwells, where all his spirits dwell, where the angels dwell, where Yahweh Shai dwells, etc., etc. But the second heaven is the celestial realm that the vast majority of people on earth have no understanding. And even though Esau likes to proclaim he understands these things, he really only has a tiny, tiny, tiny fragment of understanding. And then the first heaven is the sky that you brothers see at night, the blue sky, etc., etc. So long story short, I want to read the scripture in Ezekiel real quick. So this is the book of Ezekiel. I'll go to chapter 1, verse 1. It says, now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Chabar, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of the Most High. And in the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's captivity, the word of Yahweh came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chabar. And the hand of Yahweh was there upon him. So this is the prophet Ezekiel seeing a vision. Now we understand this is him seeing a vision of a chariot of the Lord. So verse 4, it says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber out of the midst of the fire. So reading this is speaking about essentially a great vision that Ezekiel has seen. And one of the key aspects is that a whirlwind came from it, a great cloud, and fire enfolding itself, and it had a great brightness. Now continuing on, we're going to break down each aspect of that, but let's continue on reading. It says, verse 5, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. As there was the appearance, they had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces in their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went everyone straight forward. As for the likeness of their face, the 4 had the face of a man, the face of a lion on the right side. The 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. The 4 also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces, and their wings stretched upward, 2 wings on every one, joined together, and 2 covered their bodies. So this is essentially a breakdown and of the appearance of what the Most High's angels are called, the cherubim, a very high-ranking angel that the Most High has. But we're not going to really discuss that, but let's continue on. Let's go down actually. So let's go to verse 15. It says, now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creature with his four faces. The appearances of the wheels as their work was like unto the color of beryl, which is a type of red. And they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So that's the key right there. There is a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Now I'm going to pull up a picture for y'all brothers to see what a lot of people have quote unquote drawn to show the appearance. Let's look at it. Of, you know, quote unquote the wheel within the wheel. You know, this is like a picture that you can Google and you can find, right? So again, you have the appearance of beryl, which is why you have like that fiery red. Now, one thing that you see about it is that when you look at it, it's kind of like a coin within the coin. Like if y'all brothers ever played like a video game like Mario, you'll see like those coins spinning in the air. Well, essentially this is a circular wheel and it's spinning inside of a wheel. Now, if you brothers were to turn your phone, or if you were to look at this from, you know, the bottom of your phone where you charge your phone up to the top where your speaker is, if you flip the phone, you can literally see the same shape of a flying saucer. Or if you want to just keep it regular horizontal, if you're looking at it horizontally, it's the exact same thing. There's literally a wheel within a wheel. So when you look at this shape, it's obviously showing you something that looks like a flying saucer, right? But you have to understand that the wheel, it was able to allow people to come in and out of it. So that's why this isn't, you know, the most accurate description of it. You know, this is another description as well where you got the eyes on the side, etc., etc. But the reason why brothers look at this specific picture is because look, you have a literal wheel and then you have a greater wheel outside of it. So yeah, it does appear to be a saucer, but when Ezekiel wrote it in the Bible, it's a wheel within a wheel. If you ever look at any specific picture of a UFO, it always looks as if it's a wheel floating in the air. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at that, you understand the vision that Ezekiel had. It does make sense. Now, one thing you got to understand about the chariots of the Most High, this isn't a specific topic in the Bible that's very plain. This is either a dark parable, you know, came upon us in the clouds, came like a whirlwind, he flew up into heaven. You can't 100% know and understand what this is talking about by just reading it at face value. Again, you have to use spiritual common sense and look at all the things around you, look at movies, look at things to really properly understand what this is actually talking about, right? So the first description of the Most High's chariots is that it would be a wheel within a wheel, which according to these pictures, you can see the shape of what people quote unquote call a UFO. Now let's go to the second part, which is the whirlwind. All right, so this is the book of 2 Kings chapter 2, and we'll go to verse 9. This is essentially when Elijah will be called up into heaven, right? And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for you before I be taken away from you. And Elijah said, I pray thee, let a double portion of your spirit be upon him. And he said, you have asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so unto you. But if not, it shall not be so. So we understand Elisha was the successor to Elijah as a great and mighty prophet in front of the people, right? So essentially, we understand that the Most High is going to call Elijah to go into the heavens, similar to what happened with Enoch. Now, continuing on, when you go to verse 11, it says, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. Now, when you read verse 11 where it says chariots of fire and horses of fire, in your mind, you're going to think that that's literally talking about like a horse carriage that came from the how do I put this the right way? Came from the sky and came down and essentially took Elijah to come up into the heavens. And again, when you read it at face value, that's what it seems to be. But the one thing that you have to understand is that it parted them asunder, and Elisha went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Now, when you look at the term whirlwind, let's look what that actually means. So whirlwind is Sahar. All right, so Sahar means a tempest, a storm, a whirlwind. So essentially, when you look at a whirlwind, the definition of a whirlwind is a strong wind. Like, again, y'all brothers look at a tornado, right? That's a strong wind that goes about moving and sucking anything in its path, and it comes up in a specific vortex. So another definition of a chariot is that it would have a strong whirlwind. Let's actually look up the definition according to the word. There's a column of air rapidly moving around and around in a cylindrical or funnel shape. So right here you can kind of see the definition of a whirlwind. You got different tornadoes, vortexes, right, that go from the ground up into the sky. And one thing that you do have to understand is that essentially the Most High, he uses a lot of natural phenomenon to explain certain things in a spiritual context, if you can kind of get it, right? So whenever you look at a UFO, right, you oftentimes see how a flash of light, a beam of light will come into an area and take certain people up in the air very, very quickly. You see what I'm saying? When you look at the account of what happened with Elijah, how he was gone with a whirlwind up into the heavens, the UFOs, whenever you see the UFOs being depicted, the person will be on the ground, they'll get caught up into the UFO, and then the UFO will zoom out into the spaces or zoom out into the heavens. So again, it makes 100% sense why a so-called UFO would be deemed a chariot of the Lord when you look at the characteristics. But we're gonna keep talking about it because there are some questions for those of y'all brothers who don't believe that, and y'all think that they think that UFOs are not chariots of the Lord, you think that is something else. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions at the end of this video, and if you can answer me these questions, then hey, you prove your point. But it just doesn't make any sense why it wouldn't be a UFO as a chariot of the Most High. So let's actually go to the book of Acts, because when the Most High had his son Yahushua be called into heaven, the same thing that happened to Elijah happened with Yahushua. So this is Acts chapter 1 and 8. It says, "But you will receive the power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you. And you will be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem and all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth." So this is when Yahushua basically told his disciples, after he was waiting with them, fellowshipping with them for 40 days, that it was essentially his time to go back into the heavens with his Father. Now look and see what exactly happened when he left. Now verse 9, it says, "And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight." So again, you got the term cloud. Now a lot of brothers, if you look at a lot of their understandings, you'll see specific clouds in the sky that are in the same form of a quote-unquote flying saucer, right? Y'all see those little long vortexual clouds? They're in the shape of like a circular cylinder or a disc. Oftentimes the Most High will hide his chariots in the same form of a cloud, right? If you have faith to believe in that. Verse 10, it says, "And while they looked steadfast towards heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel." The men are angels of the Lord. Verse 11, it says, "Which also said, You men of Galilee, why stand you gazing up into the heaven? This same Yahushua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go into heaven." So why is it that the Most High wanted his son to be pulled up into heaven for all of his disciples to see? Why is it that when Elijah was taken up into the heavens, that Elisha could see and write an account for it? You gotta really ask yourself a question. The Most High has the ability to have spiritual portals to allow Jacob to go into another realm. He can take somebody at any time, any moment, whenever he wants to. Why is it that the Most High had these specific phenomenons happening when he had his son taken away into the heavens, and then right after that two angels appeared? These angels who are from the spiritual realm came to that specific place at that moment without having to be caught up into the skies like a whirlwind. Why is it that the Most High wanted his son to go in that specific fashion? Because in verse 11 it says, "Yahushua which was taken up from you into heaven, so shall come in like manner as you have seen him go into heaven." Meaning meaning the way that Yahushua came up through the clouds in a whirlwind is the same way that he's going to return. The same way he left it, the same way he's going to come back to the earth. So that they're giving you a clue, because the Most High could have Yahushua just appear to the third heaven just like that, bro. It's not hard for him. He was doing that to show people and to give a hint, to give a clue to those who understand the Bible, who the Most High is giving understanding to the Bible, that there's going to be a specific way that the Most High is going to bring his salvation, right? So when you understand that they were called into the heavens, and that essentially he was taken up again in a cloud, or like Elijah was taken up like a whirlwind, or how Ezekiel saw a chariot of the Lord come back with a fire and a wheel of a wheel, again, they're all talking about the same thing. But you gotta allow precept to be upon precept. You gotta be able to piece everything together. Let's also go to the book of Revelation chapter 1. This is Revelation 1:6. It says, "And have made us kings and priests unto the Most High and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he cometh with clouds." Behold, Yahushua will come with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, meaning cry out because of him. So again, Yahushua is going to come with the clouds that every eye will see him. Now, every eye on the earth already sees the clouds. Every eye on earth can already see different clouds in the atmosphere. That's nothing new. That's not a strange phenomenon. But when Yahushua will return with the clouds, it's symbolic for him returning with the chariots and the holy archangels. We can actually go to the book of Daniel chapter 7. It explains it. So this is Daniel chapter 7 and 9. It says, "I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white like snow, and his hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth before him. Thousands upon thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 upon 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books was open." So this is the book Daniel receiving a vision, illustrating how it's going to look at the time when the Most High starts Judgment Day, and he opens up the book of life, etc., etc. Right? Now I want to go down to verse 13. It says, "I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient Days, and they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which will not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed." You know, and you want to go down, verse 18, it says, "But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever." So long story short, whenever you kind of get the understanding on what's going to happen when Yahushua will return, you understand that he's going to come in the clouds with all the other holy angels, all the other archangels, and all the thousands upon thousands of chariots that the Most High has. So when you tie that back to the book of Revelation chapter 1, let's go there again. Verse 7, it says, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him." He's coming from the sky. He's cracking the skies, and there's going to be a great revealing that's going to terrify the vast majority of people on earth when they see it, which is essentially going to cause there to be a great battle. And essentially the elect are going to understand that that is the Most High's Son returning. But the people of the earth, when they see this, they're going to understand that that's Yahushua returning to essentially establish his kingdom on earth, and there's going to be a great battle. And that also ties with the Most High's judgment. If you read in the book of Isaiah, it speaks about how the Most High will come with fire. Chapter 66 and 13, it says, "As one whom his mother comforted, so will I comfort you, and you will be comforted in Jerusalem. And when you see this, your heart will rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like a herb, and the hand of Yahweh will be known towards his servants, and his indignation toward his enemies. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire," meaning great indignation, great power, great fury, "and with his chariots like a whirlwind." So when Yahweh comes, he's going to come with a very strong whirlwind, a very strong phenomenon, and he will render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So when he's rebuking the world, he's going to cast flames of fire. And brothers understand that. We all understand that the Most High is going to have the lake of fire set up on the earth. We all understand that it's going to be great judgment, and the Most High is going to purify the world with fire. Did not Yahweh say he will baptize with fire? That's also talking about him coming back and purging the world and cleaning the world with fire. So not only just Yahweh, but all of the Most High's angels are going to come with a great fire. You see what I'm saying? And you have to understand that the chariots of the Most High will have a great and powerful fire. So verse 16, it says, for by fire and by his sword will Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. So there's going to be a great bloodbath, a great fiery bath of judgment and indignation coming upon the earth. And obviously us brothers are doing our best to try to stay away from that. But that's just a great and dreadful day and terrible day of the Lord, when the judgment is going to come upon the earth, when the sky is going to be darkened and the moon will not have her light and the sun will not have her light, because there's going to be smoke and ash and clouds all in front of us on the earth, man. So that's what the illustration of this day is going to be, and is going to be initiated with have to understand something as well. There's also going to be a war in heaven. Now, when you brothers look at a lot of these movies, Independence Day, you look at Battle LA, you look at there's a lot of videos, movies. You got Star Trek, you got Star Wars, and those aren't specifically talking about this specific battle, but there's a lot of videos and a lot of movies and shows that speak about an extraterrestrial battle between the forces of the earth and people who are coming to essentially make war with the earth. The only book on the earth that talks about this and speaks about this is literally the Bible. So you also have to understand too that many people who have knowledge of the occult, many people who have knowledge of the Bible to a certain extent, they know the same things that we're reading to you, that brothers bring out on videos on the streets, etc., etc. So brothers understand that there's going to be a great battle, but what scripture talks about that? Well, we can get it. We'll go to the book of Revelation 12. So I'll read chapter 12, verse 7. It says, there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Now we understand this isn't literally talking about Satan, because I know a lot of people, that's where you get the flying angels doctrine. A lot of people think that this already happened. A lot of people think this is how quote unquote Lucifer fell from heaven, how Satan fell from heaven, and how he established his kingdom on earth. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. But long story short, you brothers obviously understand this is a future prophecy in the time of Revelation, where the Most High is going to send his holy archangels and his chariots to fight against the dragon, the beast system, the world governmental system, and his angels is just symbolic for a flying craft. They're going to fight in the heavens, whether it be in the space, whether it be in the atmosphere, the stratosphere. But there's going to be a war in the heavens above us. That's going to be the first place where the war is. It says verse 8. It says, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven, because that symbolic battle that Esau and the other elites of this world are going to have with Yahweh and the archangels of the Most High. Essentially, that's going to be symbolic, because not only is the battle going to be in heaven, but essentially it's going to show the powers that be how they're elevated and exalted state, where they try to appear like God. They try to show people great signs, wonders, and miracles. They're going to be cast down from the heavens back down to earth. Is going to also be symbolic for Revelation 20:1, where it says the angel of the Lord came down from heaven and cast that old serpent into the bottomless pit. When that was talking about Yahweh was coming on the earth and crushing the Roman Empire spiritually and bringing them back down into the depths of hell, or the depths of great poverty and low estate. Well, the same thing is going to happen, but it's going to be in the modern time. After that battle, they're going to be brought down to earth. They're going to be brought down from their place, thinking that they're like the Most High, that they have the same power of the Most High to traverse different worlds and go into outer space, and the Most High is going to humble them. So when you see in verse 8 where it says, and prevailed not, neither was a place found anymore in heaven, not only is that talking about the aircraft that Esau's going to have and all the satellites and shit that's in space that's going to be brought down to the earth, but also their place as a quote unquote God to the people is going to be completely eradicated, and they're going to be at the bottom. The last will be first and the first will be last. When you read in verse 9, it says, and the great dragon was cast out, meaning cast out of heaven, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world, and he cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So his forces will be brought down out of earth. They will be destroyed. So there's going to be a great battle in the sky. And again, when you look at all these movies, there's a great battle in the sky over the earth.
Squad, pull out! Head to right, maintain defensive posture! Down!
The thing I want to get is that also in these movies, a lot of times spacecrafts, they resemble a form of preservation of mankind. You oftentimes see movies, like one movie that I saw as a kid called Knowing. The earth was destroyed and burned up with the fire from the sun, right? And essentially, there was two children who were preserved in a new realm, a new earth per se. And they came what? They came in celestial crafts. So, or terrestrial crafts, Salakia. So you also have to understand that that's another function of the chariots. We'll read about that in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. Solomon chapter 5 and 1, it says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labor. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. So essentially, this is talking about how, if you read, because you got to read it through, because Wisdom of Solomon chapter 4, it ties into chapter 5, but it's talking about how the wicked would oppress the righteous man. They would constantly try to, irk the righteous man, but essentially that great righteous man will stand in the face of those that have afflicted him. That's literally talking about Revelation chapter 1 and verse 7, where it says he will look upon them whom he hath pierced, right? Now verse 2, it says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. Bro, when you go to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 13, it talks about how when Yahushua is battling the forces of the people on the earth, how they will be afraid, but they will go out to fight, and they will be destroyed and cast off. I'm gonna get that after that, but let's read. It says they shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. So the way that Yahushua is gonna come back, the Most High is gonna send him, is gonna be a strange phenomenon, a crazy phenomenon. And whenever you talk to somebody about UFOs, it's such a crazy, out of this world phenomenon. That's why they're trying to get people desensitized to the phenomenon. And to be honest, there might be a Project Blue Beam, there might be a false flag. They have a lot of different projectiles, holograms, things like that they use to deceive the masses. But those of us are going to understand who the Most High really is, who he sent for his people, which is his son, and what the chariots of the Lord actually look like. So you can't be deceived by it, and the elect will not be deceived, but everybody else will be deceived. So there's going to be a strangeness to salvation that most people will not be able to understand, and that's essentially going to be when the Most High sends his chariots back to save his lost sheep. That I just want to do, I'm just doing this quick Google search, because a lot of times, in 2021 there was a report of UFO sightings, and the government they proclaimed that they had 144 reports. Now oftentimes brothers will see the number 144, and you'll see certain numbers, and one thing that the elite do is that they play with the people using numerology. But if you're able to understand the scope of the numerology, then you can kind of understand the things that are happening. Like example, the Super Bowl commercial, there's many things like that triangle commercial with Jack Harlow, things like that are essentially showing people what is to come. And if you have the eye to see and the ears to hear, you'll be able to pick up on these things. So this is a report that came out in 2021 in regards to the phenomenon of UFOs, quote unquote UFOs. And you see how they had 144 mysterious flying objects. We don't know if that was really it, or if that was a sign for them to And you have to understand as well, the Most High will oftentimes use Esau, the powers of this world, to give those of the hopeful elect signs to show that the Most High controls not only his side, but he also controls them as well, to show you and to oftentimes confirm many of the things that you've read in the Bible that are spiritual, that can't be proven with physical proof, but you have a proper understanding of spiritual context, spiritual insight, spiritual reference, and you can put the pieces together if the Most High is working with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you tell a regular person in the world that a UFO is the chariot of the Most High, they look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like you're a madman. But you look at them like a madman, like, oh, you think there's a literal, you think those are fallen angels? You think those are Nephilim, dog? You're bugging out. So it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same phenomenon. One person has the understanding, the other person doesn't. And I just want to ask any of y'all brothers listening who don't believe that the chariots are, UFOs. Why is it that there's always sightings? Why is it that they have talked about these things in movies for years and years and years? They're showing you battles in the heavens over the earth for years and years and years. And why is it that there have been, if you want to go with conventional history, you have quote unquote fallen angels, or you have quote unquote out of this universe or out of this solar system beings like aliens. But if you have a civilization that is so technologically advanced, why haven't they spoken to you? Why have they just watched you for millennia, but they've never come and spoken to you? You want to know the reason why? Because essentially they're being controlled. They're being controlled by a force that's outside of their control. And we all understand Proverbs 15:3. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the good and the evil. The Most High has literal angels watching every single one of y'all brothers in all different locations, and everybody on the earth watching these different locations, right? But again, sometimes the Most High shows his magnificent powers piece by piece. It's a way for him to show that he's visiting the world. The more sightings you see, the more signs that that's the Most High showing people that the time it's a sign of the time. You get what I'm saying? So ask yourself this question: if there's a supernatural civilization 5 light years away or whatever, and they send aircrafts to talk to spy on us or whatever, why don't they talk to us? Why wouldn't they talk to us? Why wouldn't they make contact? What are they waiting for? The only reason why these extraterrestrial beings are waiting for a specific time is when the Most High allows it. It just makes sense. So when you look at this picture, this is a chariot of the Most High. And if you get it, you get it. If not, it is what it is. So I give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Until next time, Mr. Brother Ash Ibai signing out.